What's going on, guys? I'm just doing a quick video here showing you guys some vintage monster toys that I have. These toys are all from the 80s, and I've had these forever. I didn't recently acquire these or get them off eBay or anything like that. These are toys I actually had since my childhood, and these are just a few of the toys that actually survived. The first one here is a Gremlin made by LJN Toys. This is an older one that says Warner Bros. 1984 LJN Toys on it. I don't know if that'll focus. Definitely a cool old toy. He's kind of in rough shape. A lot of his paint's worn off. He does have a bendable wire inside of him. He never was quite flexible. His arms you could bend a little bit, but for the most part, he had the wire, but he just wouldn't stay in position. But very cool. I remember playing with this guy outside a lot. That's why a lot of his paint's worn. He's been through some abuse. I used to play with this guy all the time outside, bury him in the sandbox. I think he even got left outside for like a couple winters. But yeah, a lot of old toys didn't survive. They'd get hit with the lawnmower, or just get, like I said, buried in the sandbox and forgot about. But this guy, somehow, I kept track of him, and still here to this day. This is Stripe, the Mohawk Gremlin, aka the leader. I mean, he's still, these, if you do have these for that long, they last because they are pretty solid. There's not any movable parts or anything, so they don't really break. They can tear, and the paint does wear off them, but for the most part. And he actually has a little bit of weight to him. He's pretty solid. I'd say he's about 5 or 6 inches tall. Said really solid. They're not hollow. He's solid rubber all the way through. You can't squeeze him or anything. It's a pretty soft rubber. You can't move it. But yeah, he's a solid piece. Like I said, has some weight to him. Again, 1984 by L&J Toys. Very cool Gremlin. Again, this thing just brings back a lot of memories. I used to play with this thing all the time when I was little. So glad to still have him. This here is a mummy made by Imperial Toys. Imperial, they made all kinds of different things. I had several different toys as a kid made by Imperial, but this is one of their Universal monsters. I think they made several of the Universal monsters. I'm not sure exactly if they made all of them, but I know they made a few, this being the mummy. On the back it says 1986 Imperial Toys. It's kind of hard to make out there, but also says Universal Pictures. I got this. My mom used to work in an antique store when I was a kid, and it caught fire sadly and burned down. And we were going back, going through like some of the like the rubble and stuff like that. This guy was in there, and she let me take him home, and I've had him ever since. He's pretty cool. Not much mobility. His legs and body are all one piece. His arms do go up and down, but that's about it for movability. And his head does turn ever so slightly, but not much. He's a little taller. He's about 6 or 7 inches tall. Made out of hard plastic. Again, by Imperial Toys. It's a cool old classic mummy from the Universal line. And then this here is the Jason and Victim Spitballs. These are also made by LJN Toys. Yeah, LJN Toys. Really cool company. I love they got the, looks like part 3 Jason right there. And then part 7 Jason right there. The same image of Jason from the Nintendo cartridge. These are in package. I actually did get this one a little later on. I didn't have this one since I was really young, but I got it later on from like a garage sale or something. It's a little beat up, the package, but it is still in the package. And the reason I picked one up in the package is because I did have one when I was really young. Unfortunately, this guy, I remember he was around forever, and somehow we lost him, I don't know, towards when I started getting older. But my original Jason did survive. See, the paint's kind of wore off in his eyes, and he has kind of a crack down the front of him. But he still does work. You squeeze him, fill him up with water, and they squirts out of his nose. Why you would want a Jason that squirts water out of his nose, I don't really know, but it says 1989 LJN Toys. Jason, made in China. There's a little flat spot on him so you can display him. But I've had this one forever, since I was really young. Always thought it was cool, always kept it displayed. From when I was a little kid until I was an older kid, until I was a teenager. And, you know, I'm in my 30s now, so I've had this one forever. And I'm glad to have one in the pack. Again, I lost my original Victim that came with this one. But that's whatever. They also had a Freddy and Victim one that came with Freddy. He was a squirt ball, and they had another Victim guy screaming like that. That was one of Freddy's victims. I think we had that when I was a kid, but if I did, it was long gone by now. I didn't hang on to it like I did the Jason. It says Entertech, a division of LJN Toys. (1989) Paramount Pictures Corporation, all rights reserved. Friday the 13th and Jason character are trademarks of Paramount Pictures Corporation. Made in China, 1989, LJ Toys. So yeah, just some cool old monster toys, horror/monster toys that I've had for a really long time. Just personal favorites of mine. You know, when I was a kid, you know, there wasn't NECA and things like that, so any monster or horror toys that I could get, I would, you know, would always really appreciate. There's this Axe Chop. He looks more like a Part 7 Jason. This actually does. So yeah, my Gremlin, made by LJN Toys. My Universal Mummy, made by Imperial Toys. And my Jason and Victim Spitballs, also made by LJN Toys. You know, I do collect horror figures now, and there's a lot of older monster and horror toys. I don't really pick too many of them up now just because I just don't have a lot of room for a lot of things, but these ones I've had forever, and I've hung on to for a lot of years, so they kind of have sentimental value to them, and I'm glad to still have them. So I just figured I'd show you guys in this video. Nothing real special here, just a few old toys of mine. But I figured I would share them with you guys. Yeah, and that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Later.